Swarm might have been better, or even horde. Even Phil knew they should have scouted the area first, but Karen was their primary scout, and she didn't want to waste her time on such an easy quest. That meant it was a surprise when they attacked and slaughtered the first camp they'd found, and were swarmed by at least 40 of the creatures, with more on the way. Karen had gotten them to form up inside of a dead-end cave so that the little beasts could only attack from the front, but Phil knew that was a losing move. The cave had a low overhead, so he and the other tank, a vanilla warrior named Hector who liked heavy armor and a battle axe, couldn't wield their weapons freely, and Karen and their other ranged attacker, a cute but shy little wizard who called herself Neela, couldn't fire easily over the front-line fighters' heads. It was a tactical mistake, and from the swearing Phil heard pouring from Karen, she realized they were all about to be sent for respawn. "That's why I need Jeff to get his ass over here," Phil growled internally as he unleashed a firebolt, the last his dwindling SP would let him cast, into the face of another Bogez. "Where the hell are you, dude?" Lily watched in quiet glee as her summoned Aswang resumed its normal form and leapt upon the armored warrior from behind, its blood-draining tongue piercing the spot between the warrior's helmet and cuirass, where no armor protected it. The Shadewalker beside the warrior was taken by surprise, but managed to drive his blades deeply into the green-skinned creature, which did almost nothing, since the damage was healed instantly by the LP the monster was draining from the warrior. Just to be safe, though, Lily cast a Curse of Decay on the Shadewalker, applying a small DOT, or damage over time effect, and more importantly, lowering the assassin's damage output enough to be sure he couldn't harm the Aswang. The warrior flailed and tried to grab his assailant, but the Aswang was deceptively strong and locked its claws into the gaps in the warrior's armor, clinging as it drained the human's life. The Shadewalker tried to drop into stealth, probably to attack her, but the DOT effect kept pulling him out. She'd learned long ago that any form of damage would knock a player out of stealth. Too bad these idiot noobs hadn't been here as long as she had. Lily laughed and hit the assassin with a dark bolt, tearing into his LP and draining his strength. The man shook off the impact and leaped for her, but her attacks hadn't been anything but a distraction. The Aswang released the husk of the warrior and charged at the Shadewalker. He tried to fight, but with his strength, attack, and damage drained, he simply couldn't inflict any significant damage on the monster, and once the creature's proboscis lodged in the assassin's throat, it was all over. "Stupid fucking noobs," Lily laughed as the Aswang finished draining its prey, dropping the withered husk and turning to face its master. "They're so damn gullible. Put on a pretty face and all they see is tits. Assholes." She watched as the bodies vanished, sent back for respawn. "Too bad you can't loot their asses in this game," she grumbled. "Decent XP, though, plus more CP for me." She quickly cast her Steel Image spell, which allowed her to copy the form of any humanoid she killed, and took on the Shadewalker's face and form. It was always a little weird, turning into a guy. How the fuck do they do anything with that thing hanging down there? But it, for damn sure, threw people off her trail. So long as I don't get stabbed in the fucking balls again. I can't believe that elf bitch did that. She dismissed the Aswang and summoned a Karkadan, something like a black-furred unicorn that oozed shadows and dripped blood as it ran. It was an easy creature for pursuers to follow, but it ran incredibly fast for short distances, and she was close enough to her destination that it didn't matter. The two players were respawning a day's travel back in Hawkholm, and by the time they'd made it back here, she'd have taken a new identity and vanished into the next city.